Designed to be a flying White House, the Boeing 747-200B, also known as Air Force One, is presently the aircraft used to carry POTUS around the world. It's interesting to note that Air Force One is not a name of an aircraft, but a call sign for the U.S. Air Force, USAF, for any plane that has the POTUS in it. However, currently the 747s are officially the Air Force One aircraft for the U.S. Air Force, which has designated the aircraft as VC-25A. The Air Force is currently assessing a revised plan proposed by Boeing after the company fell behind schedule building two new presidential transport aircraft, said Darlene Costello, Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Air Force Acquisition. Testifying before the House Armed Services Subcommittee on Sea Power and Projection Forces, Darlene Costello revealed that the service is reviewing the aerospace and defense company's request to delay the delivery by at least a year. Boeing has told the Air Force they need the extra year to finish modifying the 747-8 airliners into flying White Houses, but like everything involved in this high-profile multi-billion-dollar project, that's up for negotiation. We'll assess all of that, Darlene Costello said Tuesday at a House Armed Services Sea Power and Projection Forces Subcommittee hearing. Boeing also has asked the Air Force for more money. The contract to remake the planes sits at $3.9 billion, down from $5 billion after former President Donald Trump attacked the higher figure as ridiculous. Meanwhile, Boeing and the bankrupt supplier GDC Technics are suing each other in a San Antonio, Texas court over who's to blame for the delay. The program represents a sliver of Boeing's top line, which totals $58 billion in 2020. Yet it concerns some analysts because it's another black eye in a string of problems ranging from minor to catastrophic debris left in the USAF's KC-46 refueling tankers, the Starliner crew capsule that failed to reach the International Space Station, the halted 787 deliveries, and the two crashes of the 737 MAX that killed a combined 346 people. The Air Force One problems contribute to an overall impression of Boeing having serious program management and execution deficiencies, both in their commercial and military businesses, said Teal analyst Richard Abulafia. Due to COVID-19 and subcontractor issues, Boeing now wants an extra year to deliver the jets, meaning that they may not be in service until 2025, potentially after the current administration. The plane maker also sent the Air Force a letter beginning the process to negotiate a price adjustment for the jets. In April, Boeing recorded a $318 million pre-tax charge related to Air Force One presidential aircraft because of dispute with a supplier. The Boeing 747-8s are designed to be like an airborne White House, able to fly in worst-case security scenarios such as nuclear war, and are modified with military avionics, advanced communications, and a self-defense system. The current two Boeing 747s used as Air Force One, a distinction only used when the president is flying, date back to the 1990s. Since the 1940s, 7 different plane types have been specifically designed to carry the American president. The list of amenities on the modern Air Force One seems never-ending. This 800,000-pound 747 has 4,000 square feet of space distributed between 3 levels. The plane houses a large office, bedroom, bathroom, and conference room that serves as an airborne Oval Office. There is also a medical center operating room on board in case of an emergency, with a doctor present on every flight. The kitchen is equipped to prepare up to 2,000 meals on a flight and can feed up to 100 people at a time. Full of electronics, televisions, and phones, Air Force One has everything the president needs in case of a crisis. All onboard electronics are protected against electromagnetic pulse and hackers. The plane also contains advanced secure communications equipment, but the full details of what that entails are not available to the public. However, the White House states that the president would have everything necessary to respond to an attack on the United States while in the air. Boeing has informed that they believe it will be a 12-month delay beyond their original schedule. That doesn't mean that we agree with that yet, Costello told lawmakers at a House Armed Services Sea Power and Projection Forces Subcommittee hearing. Our program team is looking at what they have assumed in their schedule and is doing a schedule risk assessment. I wouldn't expect that delay to be more than what Boeing is saying, Costello said. Costello also said that the service could need to add another maintenance cycle to keep the two legacy VC-25A aircraft operational until the VC-25B is delivered and operational. As part of the Air Force's assessment, the service will evaluate what Boeing has said is the root cause of the delays. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the bankruptcy of GDC Technics, which was under contract to create the VC-25B interiors, Boeing canceled its contract and filed suit against Texas-based GDC Technics in April, alleging that the company had fallen more than a year behind schedule on designing the VC-25B interiors. GDC then countersued Boeing, claiming that Boeing had mismanaged the program. GDC's lawsuit also said that Boeing mismanaged the Air Force One program. It said GDC notified the Chicago-based company before Boeing sued that the VC-25B program as a whole has not been tracking to the contractual schedule for over 18 months. The GDC is currently waiting for a revised schedule from Boeing. GDC cannot be obligated to adhere to a schedule that it doesn't have. Because of its problems with engineering, program management, and its own financial difficulties, Boeing has fallen behind in the project schedule for the aircraft, the lawsuit said. Boeing looked to GDC as a scapegoat. In May, Lieutenant General Duke Richardson, the military deputy for the Air Force's acquisition enterprise, said that Boeing had identified a supplier to continue work on the VC-25B interiors. Boeing has also filed an intent letter to the Defense Department for a request for equitable adjustment, which lays out the financial impact COVID-19 has had on Boeing's work on the program, Costello said. That letter will pave the way for negotiations with the service about whether to raise the ceiling on the contract. The C-32 Executive Transport Recapitalization Program was intended to replace the aging C-32A aircraft fleet, according to its research, development, test, and evaluation budget item justification. Last month, Lieutenant General Duke Richardson, the Air Force military deputy for acquisitions, said that Boeing has not tried to back away from its contract when the original purchase of the plane and other aspects of the program are factored in. Each plane is expected to cost taxpayers $2.6 billion, according to the Government Accountability Office. Because of its problems with engineering, program management, and its own financial difficulties, Boeing has fallen behind in the project schedule for the aircraft, the lawsuit said. We've had a couple of those letters come in at a smaller level on some other programs. Typically, they've been much smaller, Lieutenant General Duke Richardson, the Air Force military deputy for acquisition, earlier this year acknowledged that the new Air Force One aircraft would be late because of a dispute with one of the suppliers remaking the aircraft's interior. Boeing is working hard, they've got another supplier identified, and we're going to transfer as much of the work on the interiors as possible, Richardson said during the annual McAleese conference in May. The Air Force One news comes after the service shelved plans to replace another high-profile executive aircraft, its small fleet of C-32s, or enhanced Boeing 757s, typically used to transport VIPs such as the Vice President. While the C-32 will remain in the fleet, the Air Force will not pursue investment in the airframe beyond already planned modifications, according to the service's fiscal 2022 budget request. Defense One was first to note the service put off purchasing another Air Force Two aircraft. The C-32 Executive Transport Recapitalization Program was intended to replace the aging C-32A aircraft fleet, according to its research, development, test, and evaluation budget item justification. Last month, Lieutenant General Duke Richardson, the Air Force military deputy for acquisitions, said that Boeing has not tried to back away from its contract when the original purchase of the plane and other aspects of the program are factored in. Each plane is expected to cost taxpayers $2.6 billion, according to the Government Accountability Office. That number could rise if the Air Force pays for Boeing's COVID-related expenses. The delays could force the service to overhaul the two existing Air Force One aircraft so they can safely fly the president. We may need to put in one more maintenance cycle for that aircraft, depending on the timing, Costello said. That overall work largely is done by Boeing. Whether the delay winds up being the full 12 months or something shorter, it all but guarantees that President Biden won't fly on the new Air Force Ones unless he wins a second term. Boeing is supposed to deliver the first of the two new Air Force Ones by the end of 2024. If you think something about Air Force One should be in the video, let us know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out the following videos here.